Welcome back. Strong winds and bone-dry conditions in Southern California helped fuel the flames of two new wildfires, the Sepulveda and the Hughes Fires, the latter of which grew more than 10,000 acres across the northern Los Angeles community of Castaic since igniting late Wednesday morning. The Sepulveda Fire, a lot smaller at only 40 acres, that's burning near a highway in Sherman Oaks, the 405. Meanwhile, fire crews continue to work on containing the Palisades, Eaton, and Clay fires. Both the Palisades and Eaton fires made their marks as some of the most devastating fires in California history, burning dozens of square miles of land. And now, forecasted rain this weekend raises new concerns about possible mudslides and flooding in those areas. So let's bring in CBS News reporter Andres Gutierrez. He is in Santa Clarita for us at a command center for first responders. Aaron, thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, so Liz, when the fire here, the Hughes Fire broke out, flames were shooting up to 75 feet in the air. There was smoke billowing that could be seen for miles. As we're now nearing 24 hours since that fire ignited, that is no longer the case. The firefighters have gotten a good handle of this. They have the upper hand. When it did break out, this fire exploded. It went from a small brush fire of 50 acres to over 5,000 acres being burned in the first 2 hours. Let's talk about the conditions that drove that. It's the Santa Ana winds that we've been experiencing. The gusts were 25 miles per hour when it broke out. Relatively not as bad as it was when the Palisades and Eaton fires broke out, when wind gusts were up to 80 miles per hour. So that was beneficial for firefighters. The other thing was the fact that there were already so many resources deployed at the Eaton and Palisade fires that they were able to divert some of those resources to the Hughes Fire. And there are about 4,000 firefighters right now that are trying to contain this fire that stands at 14% contained here in the Castaic Lake area. They have been battling this on the ground and in the air. Let's break it down by the numbers. 113,000 gallons of water have been thrown from the air. 30,000 gallons of flame retardant has been also dropped onto the fire here in the Hughes fire, and hand crews have been going ahead and carving out a fire line. And the other thing that is also helping them out here is the fact that there are a number of natural breaks, right? So you have a lot of hills here. It's very rugged, and so you have that helping them out. And also there's the lake that's nearby, and that has also acted as a natural break, as well as Interstate 5 that for a short period of time yesterday, a couple hours, I'll say, it was shut down, but it prevented the fire from jumping over Interstate 5, and that's where there were a lot of communities. So as much as it has grown to over 10,000 acres, it is incredible that no structures thus far have been damaged.
Amazing to report that, Andres. But, you know, another thing is happening this weekend that could help extinguish the flames, but it also poses more danger to the area. And we're talking about rain, and that, of course, could trigger mudslides in those areas that are hard hit by these wildfires. What are you hearing about that? How are emergency crews preparing for that?
Well, Liz, they really need the rain here. There hasn't been a single drop in 8 months. The latest drought report just came out. It is at a level 3 out of 4. We're expecting less than a half of inch of rain through this weekend. But if there is any moderate rainfall, yes, there is the threat of mudslides and of debris flows. So right now, fire crews, besides dealing with the containment of all these fires here in Southern California, they're also working on filling up sandbags to try and prevent to give those out to residents so they can protect their properties. There's also county workers that have been setting up barriers as well as clearing up drain pipes and basins so we don't see any of that toxic debris flowing on the streets over in the Palisades area as well as the Altadena area. One county city official from Pasadena pointed out this, and I thought this was impressive, is that the fires burned beyond the roots of the vegetation that's been holding up all of this. And so just there's nothing holding up this vegetation. So a little bit of rain can bring all that soil down. And so that is what they're bracing for. So besides the fire, there's also the possibility that some of these people can be dealing with landslides here. Hopefully that's not the case, but of course we'll be monitoring that.
Absolutely. Andres Gutierrez, live for us from Santa Clarita at this latest fire. Thank you, Andres. And he said it perfectly. You know, the area needs the rain so desperately. Haven't really had any real rain since
last
May. That's nuts.
It is extreme.
But the issue is with this latest, all these fire burn areas, the soil is so unstable. So even just a little bit of rain could be so destructive.
Yeah.
Can you give us a timeline of when that rain is supposed to come in?
As early as Saturday morning, heading into those afternoon hours. We'll see that into the overnight hours, heading into Sunday too. And areas like Santa Clarita could see anywhere up to around a ½ an inch. And this could come at a really quick time too. Flash flooding is possible down there. And of course, he mentioned it perfectly. The biggest concern for those community members has to do with debris flow. And inevitably, when we're talking about Southern California, how dry it is, mudslides too, especially in those higher elevated areas with steep slopes. Now, we take a look all the way down into Southern California. It is so extreme and wild to think that we're wrapping up the month of January and we still have fire outlooks. This is something that we usually see during the summer, fall months, but we still see that from the border of Mexico all the way up into the Santa Clarita Mountains. So taking a look behind me, here's what we can expect. You head all the way over into Los Angeles. You see the Palisades Fire here, the Eaton Fire, just the burn scar, and the newest one, the Hughes Fire, just north of that, north of the Santa Clarita Mountains. These exact areas are still under red flag warnings with low relative humidity this afternoon, below 10%. We don't even get that good overnight recovery process that we're used to with that Pacific breeze, because all those winds are pushing offshore. And the gusts today can get anywhere up to around 80 miles per hour at times. So let's time this out. We start up north, areas close to Chatsworth, all throughout the Santa Clarita Mountains. Anywhere up to around 50 mile per hour winds are expected within the next hour or two. These are wind gusts, though, not sustained winds, so at times it will be lighter. This is not a constant for them, but it is a reality that we could see wind gusts even near Malibu up to around 30 to 40 miles per hour. We head a little bit more south, and I just want to note this too, San Diego County not out of the clear just yet either. Those winds stay strong as we head into our evening hours tonight, Friday, and that'll linger as we head into our Saturday forecast. Liz?